Just when you thought there might not be Notre Dame coaching staff news in this offseason, there's been a little bit of turnover here recently. Of course, Tommy Rees, Notre Dame's offensive coordinator, former offensive coordinators, now joined the Alabama coaching staff. And Notre Dame looking to replace him, bringing on Tyler Horka to discuss some of the latest topics and, kind of give us some of the latest here. Andy Ludwig, Tyler, offensive coordinator over at Utah. If folks are not too familiar about this guy, why is he a name to know right now?
Well, I think he's one of the most experienced guys that has kind of popped up in this search. There's kind of been, I wouldn't say discrepancy, but kind of all over the place in what Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman is reportedly looking at. I mean, Colin Klein was on campus just a week ago, right? Or coming up on a week ago. That's a guy with 1 year of offensive coordinator experience at the college level. This is a guy in Andy Ludwig with 25 years of just OC experience. I don't know the number off the top of my head, how long he's been a coach at this level, but I think we're talking 3 decades, and 25 years of that has been spent as an offensive coordinator. Obviously, the last 4 years at Utah, he was at Vanderbilt for a while. Yeah, there you go. The list goes on. He's been at a lot of schools. I mean, San Diego State is a team in the last 10 years that's been really, really good offensive football team. So I just think he brings a lot to the table in terms of experience. If you look at quarterback development, I know there's a lot of people out there, Notre Dame fans, and obviously Marcus Freeman. In losing Tommy Rees, you want a guy that works closely with quarterbacks. Andy Ludwig really transformed Cameron Rising's career. This is a Cameron Rising, a guy that went to Texas, got beat out by a couple different guys, goes to Utah. Not really sure if he's going to blossom into a big-time starter. Look at his numbers the last 2 seasons that he's been the starter at Utah. Cameron Rising, I think, is close to 60 touchdown passes, less than 15 interceptions, close to 6,000 passing yards. So just in terms of running an offense, this guy is familiar with 2 tight end sets and all these different formations and whatnot, and he can also develop quarterbacks. I think those are 2 really big checkpoints right there. And then I talk about all the experience. He fills a lot of boxes. That's what Andy Ludwig does.
Yeah, so yeah, Ludwig was on campus at Notre Dame over the weekend and talked about this in YouTube videos that, if Notre Dame wanted, and I know Heather Dinich reported that he was on campus, but still, Notre Dame didn't need to have Ludwig still in the public eye at the hockey game. Like, they didn't need to do that. I think that was kind of Notre Dame's way of saying, hey, this is our guy. This is who we're getting. We'll see. Look, by the time you're watching this, folks, this news may already have moved on somewhere else, or the Ludwig thing's official. Like, it just kind of depends when you're watching this. But again, we're recording this Monday afternoon, and it does look like Ludwig is the lead candidate by all accounts. And what's interesting, Tyler, in 1995 and 96, those 2 seasons, he was Boise State's just the quarterback's coach, right? I was 2 years old, 2 and 3 years old at that point. Ever since then, offensive coordinator, all these places. Yeah. So he doesn't seem to have aspirations to be a head coach. I'm sure if he wanted to be a head coach somewhere, he'd be a head coach somewhere. Whether it's at a group of 5 school or FCS or whatever. It seems like he would have already done that by now. I think that's the perfect. This is the perfect get for the Irish, not only schematically, because just the offenses ran at Utah seemed to translate well to Notre Dame using the tight ends, but also, Tyler, you can attest to this, and Marcus Freeman's press conferences will often say, I don't know a lot about offense. Like, he's pretty honest. Like, he knows how to scout against an offense, but like running an offense, Freeman doesn't. I'll be the first to say, I don't know. So he basically let Tommy Rees be the quote unquote, I don't know if Freeman said this, but this is what I've always been told, the head coach of the offense. So if Rees is gone, I didn't love Colin Klein for that, right? But Andy Ludwig being an offensive coordinator for nearly 30 years straight, that's a perfect head coach of the offense, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I totally agree. This is the safer bet. Colin Klein, you're taking a flyer. Maybe he has more potential. But then again, you're dealing with another guy in Colin Klein who probably wants to be doing something else other than running an offense in 5 years. Tommy Rees was that, and that's why he's gone on to Alabama. We had that whole 45-minute conversation the day that happened, Mike, where we said, hey, this guy's trying to further his career in a step like past Alabama. Alabama is not even his end-all, be-all. So Andy Ludwig is not that guy. He's a guy that, like you said, He's been an offensive coordinator for just 2 years shy for as long as I've been alive. I'm
Yeah.
27 years old. He's been an offensive coordinator for 25 years. So that's what he wants to do. It's a safe pick. And I think it's a good pick. If that's who Notre Dame gets, I started this conversation out by saying all of the things that he's done, especially at Utah in the last 4 years. This guy's on a little bit of a heater. I mean, these guys just beat the Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams, 2 times. Utah is the sole reason why USC did not make the college football playoff. They had to outscore the Trojans to win those games. Andy Ludwig is a big reason why they did that.
So interesting news right before the Super Bowl started was Harry Hiestand announcing his retirement. He's, of course, a veteran offensive line coach, amazing with the Fighting Irish, several years ago, and then returned in 2022. I know the timing, selfishly, as reporters, we did not love, right before the Super Bowl. But yeah, it's a surprise and not a surprise, Tyler. I mean, in that, look, I mean, he wants to retire, spend more time with his family. That's what we talked about in a statement. But at the same time, seemed to come out of left field a little bit. So if it is Ludwig or whoever the offensive coordinator is, I guess I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more of a sexier position than it already was to come in as offensive coordinator, so you can at least, kind of pick your offensive line coach. Just thoughts on this whole situation, Tyler?
Yeah, I know one guy who is probably definitely staying if Andy Ludwig is who Notre Dame hires, and that would be Jared Parker, because he was at that hockey game that you mentioned a couple nights ago. It was him, Freeman, and Ludwig. But yeah, this gives Ludwig or whoever it's going to be for the offensive coordinator position a chance to kind of make his own, I don't want to say staff, but offensive line, especially at a place like Notre Dame, is a really important position to kind of handpick your guy. So whoever's hired gets to do that. And from Hiestand's perspective, you go back to a year ago at this time when Tommy Rees was talking about all of the new hires for Notre Dame's coaching staff. Tommy Rees kind of handpicked Harry Hiestand. I know Marcus Freeman says, hey, that's the guy that we wanted, but Tommy Rees immediately called Harry Hiestand and said, hey, what do you think about coming back to Notre Dame and being my offensive line coach? Because I want you. Once Rees leaves, Hiestand's sitting there thinking, okay, the guy that really wanted me, and again, Freeman really wanted him too, but Hiestand's 64 years old. I don't think he was ready for whatever direction Notre Dame is going here. He's got to kind of change his not attitude, but there's some change. There's some turnover going on there. And Hiestand's saying, I mean, read the quotes. He wants to be with his family. This is kind of a starting over point for Notre Dame in terms of the offense. And he's at a point where he said, hey, I came back. I did my 1 year. It was a pretty good year. I mean, Notre Dame had a really good offensive line, but it's not completely shocking to me given that Tommy Rees left.
Yeah, good points. And I posted this on our blueandgold.com message board, which is a great time to say, $29.99 unlocks premium access until the start of the next football season. That, I mean, I mentioned the comment about Rees kind of being the head coach of the offense. Well, Hiestand had pretty much autonomy on the offensive line and kind of got to make those decisions. If I'm Harry Hiestand, like, man, I'm in my 60s. I mean, I'm already tired. Recruiting's just a grind. Now I got a new boss coming in, man. Just I'll ride off into the sunset. That's kind of what I've been told. Mixed in with a little bit of conjecture and just logic, but. So I think that was kind of Hiestand's line of thinking. Last but certainly not least, Tyler, this is kind of a sneaky news item that flew under the radar on, I want to say it was Saturday. Notre Dame hiring Alabama staffer, former NFL linebacker Max Bulla, who was Michigan State linebacker, several years ago. I mean, 3-time All Big Ten linebacker, 2-time captain at State. 3 seasons in the NFL with the Texans, 30 tackles and 15, and then had 25 in 2016. So didn't have a tremendous NFL career, but a sneaky hire. Tyler, why is this one important?
Well, it's important because you lost James Laurinaitis to Ohio State, which was kind of a given. I mean, he wants to go back to his alma mater. I wasn't really surprised when that happened, but once it did happen, look, Al Golden and Marcus Freeman the last couple of years have been the linebackers coach as the defensive coordinator. So you need a graduate assistant or an analyst, whatever it may be, to kind of be your de facto linebackers coach. James Laurinaitis was that for Notre Dame. I mean, we've seen so many practices where the media are down on the field. This guy's coaching the linebackers up like he was the linebackers coach. That was Laurinaitis. You need you need a guy to kind of replace that, and that's who this is going to be. And look, he checks a lot of boxes too. You mentioned Alabama. That's good to have on your resume. He was awesome as a player at Michigan State, and not too long ago. And yeah, he only was in the NFL for 5 years, but that's way longer than most people. And some people never even make it to the NFL. So he's kind of checking those boxes like Andy Ludwig does at offensive coordinator, for a guy to come in and excuse me if I don't know is he going to be an analyst? Is he going to be,
it's a grad assistant.
So for a guy to come in and kind of fill that role that Laurinaitis left, pretty much the same exact role, and you're getting him from a place that how long was he at Alabama? Like 2 or 3 years, right? He won the national championship with them in 2020, I think it was. So ton of experience, was a really good player. I think the players at Notre Dame are going to resonate with him well, and it's a really good hire for Marcus Freeman.
And on the recruiting front, I mean, Laurinaitis was key for the Fighting Irish, so it'll be good for him to get in there and, lead the way for the Irish with some of those top linebacker targets, build those relationships quickly. Definitely important for Notre Dame on the recruiting trail as well. Folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. Go watch some of our other videos. Mike Goolsby Show Monday night, and we'll have more throughout the week as well. As always, folks, appreciate you all, and we'll catch you next time.